George the steamroller was working in the fruit garden when Thomas arrived. Fish were humming, chips were snoring, burgers were flying, and hot dogs were crawling about. "Hello, George," called Thomas. "You look as bright and cheerful as my blue paint." "Oh, am I?" said George. "These are little wooden houses." "What's that noise?" asked Thomas. "These things are called Pontipine houses," added George. "And I'm taking them to Vickerstown Station in New York." Fluttershy is telling Twilight Sparkle that her little Pontipine friends make nice marmite, and she is giving some of them to her friends, including you. Just then, Murdoch the mighty engine puffed in. "Take care, you vehicles," he warned them. "Don't make the Pontipines sad. They might ping you." Thomas didn't like being told what to do by a tender engine, and he chattered away. "See you later, George," called Murdoch, and he puffed along to Knapford Harbour to meet Harvey. Splatter and Dodge, the twin diesels, were busy arranging the trucks into places, but they raced off when they saw Murdoch. "I remember the 5th time I met these diesels," giggled Murdoch. "They nearly made my tongue pop out. Salty soon stopped to put in their games. Salty is the only one who me and him are going to told by Murdoch to have some peace and quiet. He can also keep Splatter and Dodge in order," chuckled Harvey. "I sometimes call them the Ponty-bines." "That is a very nice name," added Murdoch. "They're horrors when they start chattering around all the time." Just then, Thomas puffed in. "What's that, Harvey?" he snorted. "Are you afraid of Pontipines? They're only little wooden dolls after all, so don't let that orange tender engine tell you and Salty how different you are." "His name's really Murdoch," added Harvey, "and he didn't used to tell. We have to—" "I wouldn't care," interrupted Thomas. "If millions were racing and flying around, I'd just blow steam and make them fly off." Me, added Harvey. Earlier that same day, Thomas arrived at Knapford Station to collect Danny and Clarabelle. All the cartoon characters were unloading the Pontipine houses from the cattle vans so they can get out of them. Kanga and Roo were putting the Wattinger boxes next to Pontipine houses, and Scoop can take them back to the farm. Lofty can carry the Pontipine houses in Travis's trailer to carry them to school, and Muck can put the Pontipine houses into the low loader so other vehicles can take them, and Mater and Finn McMissile can help Mr. Stenchy and Angel put the Pontipine houses on the low loader ready for the display. Apple Bloom and Fluttershy were excited to get the giant vegetable competition poster on the wall so they can get the Pontipine houses out of the cattle vans ready for the celebration. Mr. Strong and Mr. Bump were putting the Pontipine houses on the trolley. All the other cartoon characters can take them to the different locations, and Pooh Bear was in a hurry. "Mind your backs!" he called. Then there was trouble. The Pontipine house fell and smashed into smithereens. The station cleared like music. Thomas heard familiar chattering. The Pontipines were too hot to be sad, so they chatted around Lilo, hoping she meant their house, but they did not understand, nor did Stitch. So the Pontipines turned to Thomas. His tanks were nice and soft. Squawked Thomas. One Pontipine burnt his hand. Ooh! Ow! Ouch! Ah! The Pontipine thought Thomas had burnt himself by accident. So he pinged Thomas right back on the nose. Cried Thomas. He had had enough. So did Lilo and Stitch. They didn't notice, but too late, that he had left Annie and Clarabelle behind. They tried everything to get rid of the Pontipines. First, they spun on the turntable, but to no avail. They tried washing them off, but the Pontipines clung harder to Thomas's soft tanks. Then, they tried smoking them off by going through Henry's tunnel. But still, the Pontipines did not go away. It's no use, Thomas, said Stitch. We'll just need to go back to the fruit garden to fetch Upsy Daisy's bed. Thomas's reply was drowned by the sound of chattering of the Pontipines. Fluttershy was waiting anxiously for Thomas. When he arrived there, the Pontipines flew straight into Upsy Daisy's bed. Come on, Thomas, called Stitch. It's time for you to go back to Knapford Sheds. Later that afternoon, Thomas was resting in the shed when Fluttershy came to see him. Thank you for saving my little Pontipine friends, she said. It's a pity it's not Easter. Now we can call him Thomas the Blue-Nosed Engine. Everybody giggled, including Thomas, but instead they decided to call Thomas the Ponty-bines Contikines, which means they thought he was really useful than ever.